Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I am good. I'm good, thank you. I'm very excited because we have another guest with us
We
today.
we do indeed. Oh, I'm so excited to have today's guest on the show because I had the absolute pleasure of witnessing today's guest host a fantastic workshop at the TEDx Wolverhampton Women event that I went to a few weeks back. And our guest today educated us on the different types of intelligence we have. I was completely unaware of this, and apparently we have eight. And she shared with us about that we have body intelligence. And I was really captivated. I made notes, as I always do. And I just knew after Rachel's workshop that she would be absolutely fantastic to have on the show. So, Rachel, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having
Hello.
me. I'm delighted to be here.
You're so welcome. It's so great to have you here. So, guys, we have Rachel Curran on the podcast today. So, Rachel is a master coach. She's a facilitator and of course, TEDx speaker with over 6 years of experience. So, Rachel spent the first decade of her career working with international investment banks and wealth firms based across both London and New York, and now specializes in supporting high achieving women, helping them to get out of their heads so they can make clear decisions, stop people pleasing, and trust their intuition and powerfully lead. Oh, how exciting to have you on the show. Boom. Here we go. So, as always, Rachel, we really, really love to kick off our guest podcasts so that our audience can get to know you a bit better by finding out a little bit about you. So, we'd love to hear from you in terms of your journey, how you've got to where you are today. And then we'll take it from there if that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
Amazing.
I actually started off as a dancer. So I used to be a professional dancer, and that was my absolute passion. And then, long story short, I ended up back in university, somehow ended up in a technology-based degree. And I graduated out of that, moving to New York and working for a company there. And I did really well. I excelled through the ranks. I was, promoted a lot, moved back to London, made lots of money, traveled everywhere, had great friends, had great social life, all that kind of stuff. Um, on the outside, everything really looked perfect, but on the inside, I was really, really second guessing myself, not able to make clear decisions, really relying on other people to help me make these key choices in my life, overthinking every last step, or really, leaving meetings and wondering, had I said the right thing? Should I have said this? And really questioning how I was operating. Within all of this too, I had a really, really horrible binge and restrict relationship with my body. And then, kind of, adding on to that, um, some of my really close family members had really struggled with their mental health, and that had actually really impacted me a lot. But I was kind of, almost a third parent, so I didn't really realize how much it had affected me. And I was introduced to coaching, and as a client, and I thought, I love growing and I love developing, and oh, this can help me in my career, amazing. So I started that, and as I started that journey, I really started to realize that a lot of the ways that I was thinking, a lot of the ways that I was behaving or not behaving, like I realized the extent to which I people pleased, that I was overthinking, that I was in perfectionism, and I could really see how much this impacted me. Um, and I kind of reached a stage in my career where, although I didn't enjoy the industry or the subject area that I was focusing in on, I had so much movement in my life, from moving between countries, and I had so much movement between jobs, that there hadn't really been enough stillness for me to realize how unhappy I was. And I always remember I had this moment. I was standing in my kitchen, and I just had, one of those moments where you kind of fast forward in life.
Mm.
And I was thinking, okay, in 10 years' time, if I don't do anything different, I'm going to be 40 years old. I'm going to be CRO in some bank. I'm going to be more bored, miserable, and depressed. And knowing what it felt like to dance and be in my passion, I can't settle for something that feels like this. And so I kept turning it over in my head. And I was like, okay, if not this, then what? And this sort of happened simultaneously to me discovering coaching. I thought, okay, well, what about coaching? Because I've always loved helping people. I've always been really good at helping people, you know, get them up and go forwards. And I lived in New York at this point, where, you know, self-development is much more accepted in society. I would say over here, there's still a bit of embarrassment around it. And this was way before coaching became the cool thing to do, and, you know, what everyone was doing, etc. So anyway, I hired my own coach, and I threw myself into all the different training programs. I did my master's in it and all that kind of stuff. Started my own business on the side of my bank career, and then when I had grown it to a big enough place, it became my full-time thing. And so I've worked with, you know, a full range of clients, but really who I specialize in working with, as you said, is really high achieving women that were very much in the same place as me. And they're kind of creating their own internal glass ceiling based on what's going on inside their head. And the focus and the really of my work is in incorporating, and I know we're going to go into this, so I'll keep this brief. It is the power of the body, and especially in women, how it is our superpower, and how when we learn how to reconnect to that, it really empowers us to be your most authentic self, which I know you guys here are really focused on. So that's in a nutshell, that's some of my journey.
Oh, that's
wow.
amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And what an inspirational story as well. And
Yeah.
one I'm sure many of us, I know I can absolutely relate to the whole, you know, just so up in your head. And I used to second guess myself so much and be just so worried, so much fear around decision making. Have I made the right decision? Is this the right thing for me? And just not having that confidence
Mhm.
in that decision making. And I love how you shared that, you know, you had this moment in the kitchen where you kind of projected forward, because I too did this only a couple of years ago and thought, oh my gosh, that doesn't feel good. Like I got to a point when I had plateaued in life, and I knew I needed to do something different. And I also knew I wanted more, but I had this internal battle going on of, well, I should just be happy with what I've got. So I can really relate to that. And yeah, what a really inspirational journey. And yeah, I'm just so excited to hear more about the work that you do in terms of the different types of intelligence. So would you
Yes.
mind just if we explore that, Rachel? Is that
Sure,
okay? Yeah.
sure, yeah. So to start off with, there's really 8 different forms of intelligence, and we're kind of, most people aren't really aware of this when I bring it up as a topic. So the 8 are: so logical, so real analytical thinking; linguistic, so it's your ability to use language; spatial intelligence, that's like if you're something like an architect, is really has got a lot of spatial intelligence; musical intelligence, that's self-explanatory; body intelligence, which I know we're going to go into today; intrapersonal intelligence, it's your ability to interact with other people; interpersonal experience is your extent to which you know yourself and can create a relationship with yourself; and then naturalistic intelligence, which is, you know, how you engage with nature and how you can appreciate the wisdom coming from that. And I think what's probably most interesting, especially with, you know, the people that are listening to this podcast, and the ladies that I work with, is what I really see in the world is, as a society, we've overvalued logical intelligence. You know, we put a lot of emphasis on cerebral thinking and being analytical and getting things right or wrong and really being able to predict results. But and as a result, we've devalued the remaining 7. You know, and the fact that most people are in shock that there's 8 different ones really solidifies that. And really, the symptoms that we're talking about, so overthinking, people pleasing, perfectionism, procrastination, these are all symptoms that you're highly disconnected from your body intelligence and spending a lot of time in your head. So I can talk about this for years, so I want to give you guys the opportunity to, you know, ask questions and allow this to be more of a conversation. But in a nutshell, that's really yeah, where it all comes from.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really interesting, isn't it? And like you say, we just can get so up in our head. I was a very big people pleaser. And again, struggled with decisions. I would just palm them off to my husband and leave them there. um, and yeah, I did not realize that there was that many different ways at all. That's so interesting.
No. So in terms of body intelligence then, Rachel, could you kind of expand on that in terms of like what if someone's listening going, well, I get from a logical perspective what you've just kind of explained. But what does body intelligence mean? And if we were trying to tap into that as a system of I don't know if I'm using the right words here, but using body intelligence rather than using the intellectual intelligence.
Sure. Okay, so to answer that, first of all, to help explain it, so logical intelligence, when we're using that part of our brain, that part of our brain is designed to find problems. So any question you put in there around, I don't know, do I want to be in a relationship with this person or not? Is this the career I want to be in or not? Where do I want to go on holidays? Will I buy that coat or not? Anything that you land on there when you're using that part of your brain, the really rational, trying to make sense, I want to make the right decision type place, is always going to find a problem with whatever you land on, because that part of your brain is designed to find problems. So that's why and how we get stuck in overthinking loops, because no matter what you land on, when you only know how to use that part, it's going to find the problem. So to anyone listening, if you are somebody that really identifies with being in your overhead, really overthinking and questioning yourself, and you experience a lot of what I just explained, that's a symptom that you are very much in your logical intelligence at the moment. Okay, now your logical intelligence speaks to you in language and in words and pictures. And so we're used to thinking in words and pictures, and society, the way we're taught in school, the way we kind of move through society, really backs that up. So you're using your logical intelligence if you are thinking only in pictures and words. So does that make sense, first of all?
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of pictures and words, so words like kind of our internal dialogue, is that?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our
Amazing.
internal dialogue. And then, when you are imagining the future, or imagining, a work meeting you're going to have tomorrow and worrying about it, those sort of like movies that you play in your head.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a replay from the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I relate to those.
So that's a logical intelligence. Okay. Now, body intelligence is, so it speaks to us in words and pictures. Our body intelligence speaks to us through the language of sensation. And this is an entirely different language that it uses to interact with us. And the problem is, we came out of the womb fluent in it. So if you ever see a baby knows what they need. They're going to express it no matter what. They're not going to, hold back what they think and feel. And they really act based on, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to cry. Oh, I need to go to the bathroom, I'm going to cry. I've wet my nappy, I'm going to cry. But as we kind of, move through our education system, we're sort of just taught to disconnect from that language of sensation, that sort of, it's really our intuition, and instead move into those more logical ways of thinking. So what I really like to do here is, the easiest way to kind of describe this would be, so if you're listening to this, if what I usually ask people is, like, tell me what, so whatever you're doing right now, doing the washing up, going for a walk, listening to this podcast in bed, what do you feel like? What would you say you're feeling right now at the moment? Are you tired? Are you exhausted? Are you happy? Are you excited? So note that. And then close your eyes and take a few deep breaths and bring your attention from below your head, below your neck, into the rest of your body. And just notice where do you notice areas of tenseness? Like, where are you tense? Where is there movement? Where is there heat? Where is there maybe butterflies? Where is there, hot or cold? And how are you relating to that? So I'm really speeding this up, but would do this slower. Like, how are you relating to that feeling? What emotion is inside that feeling? What does that feeling want to say? And you'll learn, oh, I'm actually feeling a lot more inside. There's a lot more information inside me than I was aware of a few minutes ago. So it's something really to bring people through in an exercise. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, so it's kind of this transition from, like you said, from head to out of your head and into your body. And you
Yeah.
spoke about it as in it's our intuition. Would that
Yeah.
say, sometimes we say, oh, I've got this gut feeling. Is that it?
Yeah. And that's it. It's like, oh, I've got this gut feeling. But and the gut feeling is the language of sensation. But because you're not fluent in it, you kind of don't know how to trust it, or it's hard to trust it. So then you feel that gut feeling, and because you don't know how to trust it, you go up into your head into that logical space, and it's like, oh, what do I do? But then that's just going to find a problem. So it's really creating a deeper relationship between you and your gut feeling, and being fluent in what is a full yes for you and what is a full no for you. What does that feel like in your body? Even when there's fear, even if it means stepping into the unknown, if there's a choice you want to make, is it maybe you're you're wondering if you're in the right relationship or not, or are you wanting to move cities or not, or are you wanting to make a change in your career? And when there are steps we want to take in our life that involve change, there's often fear present with that.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to make a choice that's really authentic to us and really true to the core of who we are as a human being, it's really important that we can listen to that gut feeling, and that we know the difference between sort of something that's made up and something that really is our intuition talking to us. Because that language of sensation is the language of your body, the language of your body wisdom, and the language of your intuition. And your intuition, and another point there to put in, is your logical mind is designed to keep you safe, so I keep you where you are. But your intuition for your body intelligence is designed to help you grow. So it's going to be helping you step outside of your comfort zone. And there will be fear that comes up with taking those steps. So being fluent in the language of your intuition in taking those steps forwards is really key, because it's like your anchor in the middle of you expanding into the next version of you.
Oh, I
Wow.
love that. I love how you positioned it as getting fluent in that language as well, because that kind of lets you explore and kind of get better at it, doesn't it? And I suppose, is it kind of starting off on like building up that trust, would you say, and kind of like maybe the little things first and then kind of building up?
Absolutely. Yeah. So like a really good exercise you could do would be, yeah, absolutely. Like, you do not want to start this with, like,
Big
do
life
I want to be
decisions.
in this relationship or not? That's going to be way too big. So a really lovely exercise that I like to give people, when they're brand new at this, is start off with kind of building up this muscle in making choices that aren't life-changing, like what you're going to have for dinner, what you're going to wear today, what restaurant you go to on Friday type thing. And let's just say you're making a decision between, let's say you're deciding what to make for dinner, right? And let's say you're choosing between curry, pizza, and a burger. Okay. So you get a piece of paper per choice. And on each piece of paper, so write curry on one, write, burger on another one, and pizza on another one. And then you stand in front, like physically stand. So line them up in front of you in a line, stand in front of the first option, which is curry. And in front of this option, you're going to just, close your eyes, put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, which really helps connect you to you. And just take a few deep breaths, especially if you've been working all day, running around, you're going to be very in your head. So really just take a moment to just calm down and connect to your body. And out loud, because that will help you, and you might feel crazy doing this, but again, we're using something simple that isn't going to change your life to help you build up that connection. So hand on your heart, hand on your belly, taking a few deep breaths, and then you say, I'm choosing to eat make curry for myself. I'm imagining tasting the rice and the yummy tomato flavors. And then you physically step forward onto that piece of paper, drop your hands, and just notice what happens in your body. Does your body lean forwards? Does your body lean backwards? Does the energy go up? Do you feel like a sinking feeling? Just notice with no expectation what happens inside your body, and then step off, shake it off, and do the exact same for the other two choices. And you will start to notice, oh my God, my body feels different. Different things happen in my body for each of these choices. And a very good rule of thumb is a choice that is a true yes for you. Because what we're really doing here is we're learning what is a yes and what is a no. So a true yes is always going to have the energy going up. It's always going to feel more expansive. It's going to feel lighter. There may be, when you start to use this for bigger choices, some fear that comes up immediately after it, which lets you know, oh, you're on the money. You're taking a step outside your comfort zone. And the choices that are a no for you will feel more like, like your tummy's sinking, or your chest is sinking, or you'll feel a bit more pushed down, or you might feel a bit dull. Or there may be some like disappointment, or so, and but really starting to learn what that yes and no feels like in your body is a really, really good place to begin.
That is such a great
I
sorry.
suppose for so long we've got, especially if we use the people pleasing example, we've got so good at saying yes or no on because of other people, not because of ourselves, haven't we? So we've really got to get to know what that yes and what that no looks and feels like, haven't we?
Yeah. And I think I know you wanted to focus on this, but is it okay if I offer a little tip on people pleasing and yes and no?
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
As someone that is a reformed people pleaser, like you guys, like I was the poster child for this. I was like, abandon self to make you happy.
Yeah.
And people pleasers usually know they are, right? We usually know. And there's usually such a desire to not be able to do this, but there's such an uncomfortableness around what it feels like to meet and honor our own needs first, that it's quite challenging at the beginning. And what I often say is, set yourself a challenge for the next week, 2 weeks, and any invitation that comes your way or any request that comes your way, your job is to not say yes immediately to anything, even if you know you're a yes. So that day that you receive the request, the invitation, whatever it is, you're just going to really simply stop, and you're going to say, thank you so much for the invitation. Let me think about it, and I will get back to you tomorrow. So blanket, we're not saying yes or no on the day. And then you have an opportunity to use the exercise that I just gave you to really feel into, is this a full yes for you, or is this a no for you? And if it's a yes, then great, go for it. If it's a no, you don't need to offer war and peace on why it's a no for you. Okay, like something really, really simple, like, thank you so much for the invitation. It sounds lots of fun. For me, it's going to be a no. Have a great time. That's all you need to say. That's all you need to say. But as you two, I'm sure, know, there is such a difference leading your life, being a full body yes to all the things that are in your life, versus feeling like your whole life is someone else's to-do list. And you're like, I felt like my body was out on rent for other people. Honestly, it's such a difference. So I hope that helps. So that's kind of like combining the two.
Absolutely. And from what I'm hearing, Rachel, it sounds to me like our bodies are telling us so much.
Yeah.
But we, unknowingly are just not listening to them, or we've forgotten how to.
Yeah, we've just forgotten. Yeah.
And
Sorry,
go on. I was going to say, what a wonderful thing to know that we can maneuver from the head into the body, because that is that I have in the past, I felt so disconnected from that gut feeling. And a really good friend of mine, I've always admired her ability to just go, well, I just know. And that is, she's so in tune with her body. And she's like, well, I just get this feeling. And I'm like, well, tell me how you do that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? Because I'm all up here and I'm like, is it this? Is
Yeah.
it that? Is it this? Is it that? And that's just such a wonderful, it fills me with excitement. And I hope it fills out, and I'm sure it will fill our listeners with excitement, that it is accessible to all of us to move from the head into the body and get back into that intuition, get back into that inner guidance that hasn't, like you said, it hasn't left us. It came with us when we were born. We knew what we wanted then and we could express it then. But I suppose it's just kind of relearning that how we reconnect in that way through, through the starting points that you've given.
Yeah, it's absolutely relearning. And also, this isn't about never using your mind again. There's absolutely a place for that. I'm not suggesting that, you go into your next work meeting, forget about your logical mind and, fuel it only by your intuition. But it's about increasing your capacity to have access to your body intuition and know when to use it and pull from it. And when you can really use and move smoothly between your logical mind and your body intelligence, it increases your flexibility. And the most flexible person in the room always wins the race. So if you can go into a meeting and you can be in your logical mind, but you can also be drawing from your body intelligence, it's going to allow you to move and be flexible and just increase your success so much more than if you're only kind of relying on this one little part.
Gosh, it's like a wonderful recipe for success, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. And it brings me on to something that you said during the workshop, that obviously our body wisdom is our inner compass. And you spoke about it, that it's the feminine superpower.
Yeah. And because women just have very big levels of access to their intuition. And if you think about, like, our bodies grow other human beings. There's such intelligence inside our body. And, it's kind of one of the ways that I described it, and I described it like this in the workshop, is logical thinking is actually a very masculine trait. So, facts, data, focus, driven towards the end goal. It's actually that's the masculine superpower. The feminine superpower is being empathic and intuitive and creating relationships and being really insightful and creativeness. And that, all of those we access through our body. And it's kind of like, you're a bird and you've got these wings, but instead of using the wings, you're down the ground trying to act like a rabbit. So, we're trying to excel using only masculine traits. Yeah, you can walk around like the rabbit, but in order for you to excel, you've got to use your wings. And empathy and communication and, integrity all really lives within its access through our body. And those are the gifts and the superpowers of the feminine. And for you to really flourish in any area of your life, in your relationships, in your careers, with your family, with your friends, with your partners, bringing your natural essence into the game is going to really allow you to show up as your full self. So it's and the thing is, when you learn how to navigate life using these parts of you, it becomes so much more easy, because then you're using your natural superpowers to navigate life. Whereas when you don't, and you're only trying to operate, like the very logical rabbit, it's like you create your own internal glass ceiling. So opening your ability to really use that is the thing that, in my mind, I work with lots of successful women. When they learn how to use their body intelligence to navigate their life, they soar. It really, really changes the trajectory of the key areas of their life that are important to them. So yeah.
Wow. I love that. And I love the thought of us having these wings that we can access, and it's like unlocking that potential, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then using the wings and soaring and seeing how much we can be, and in just such a wonderful way that comes so naturally to us that we've perhaps, you know, forgotten
Yeah.
how to use, and that we can start using it again. And it becomes like when you see these birds just soaring, it doesn't look challenging, does it? They are
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
they're in
gliding.
flight with ease. They are gliding. And like, what a
Yeah.
lovely thought that we, as women, we have this superpower that we can just tap into and reignite. It's it's really
Yeah.
exciting.
Because I once read something that the 9 to 5 day is actually built around men and how their you know, there's their hormones 24 or more 24 hours, where obviously we're monthly, aren't we? And like that makes so much sense that I suppose as a society over time we've just gone into this masculine, and it's such a beautiful shift to go, hang on, no, guys, let's go this way. Let's go back to like our superpower, like you say,
Yeah.
and bring that in, because the world needs that superpower right now, doesn't it? It needs that added compassion and that like intuitive beauty, really, rather than such a harsh masculine, you know, that we try and almost make ourselves fit into that box, don't we, where it just doesn't quite feel right. Like I know for me, like that just doesn't sit right. I'm so this way, but I've been fighting to go that way.
Mm. Mm.
That's it. And it's that balance, isn't it? I suppose. Sorry, Rachel.
That's it. And I think, you know, also the more you can be, it will balance out the men. So the more you're in your healthy feminine, the more men will move into their healthy masculine. And as a
Yes.
society, it's out of balance, and we want to bring it back into balance. And I love that point you made around 9 to 5 being, you know, working more towards men, because as women, we have, you know, we have monthly cycles if you are still menstruating. And, you know, at each stage of your cycle, you know, there's times where you're more outgoing, you know. So for you guys, like that might be when you want to do your podcast. There's times where you're very introspective, and you know, and so if we were able, it would be amazing, you know, one day if we were able to work in line with our cycles, rather than, you know, just working to this 9 to 5
Yeah.
thing that maybe potentially isn't the best way to leverage our gifts.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was such an aha moment for me, because I was like, that makes so much sense.
Mm.
I've just never seen it that way.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that that's how it's been over time, doesn't it? And I suppose now it's just as kind of, like you say, tapping into that superpower and just bringing it back. But then it kind of brings this beauty on both sides for men and women, to have both. I love that.
So the message really then today, Rachel, is that we to get out of our heads, out of this logical mind, to get into our bodies and use our body wisdom. It's to start to notice it, isn't it? Through the examples you've given and the advice and the kind of the starting points. And like you expressed, starting off with dinner or what to wear rather than big life decisions, and just starting to move back into that body, and then just build on that, isn't it? And transition. But also, you know, like you said, there's a balance between the two, and you know when to lean on the logical, and you know when to lean on the body intelligence, which is really a really thought provoking. And I know I'm excited to start feeling how I feel. Yeah, especially for dinner, because I never know what to have for dinner, and that's a turmoil decision. Every day. So amazing. So thank you so much for spending time with us today, Rachel. It has absolutely been fantastic, and I know there's so much value here for our listeners. As always, guys, we'll pop all of Rachel's details in the show notes so you can explore what Rachel has to offer, ways that you can work with her also. And just before we leave, Rachel, we do love to ask our guests an on-the-spot question. It's the same question that we ask all of our guests. And the question is, what one piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
I would follow your heart.
Yes.
Follow your heart, even when it's scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sound advice.
Love that, because
so
it is the scary
important.
option sometimes, isn't it? But it's so worth that bit of fear to get on the other side.
Yes.
And you're way younger than you think.
Yeah. And it's never too late.
Oh my gosh, that is so true, isn't it? You're wow. Love that.
Love it.
Oh, because I think sometimes we have to make such big decisions when we're younger as well, don't we? And like, I'm like, oh, it's never too late to just change like what we're doing and like tap more into our heart and just move our life towards our hearts some more and
Mm.
test and tweak and explore. And like you say,
Yeah,
get more fluent in that language.
yeah. And I think, at least for me, it's like, oh God, I need to make these massive decisions now that are gonna, determine the rest of my life, and that's not the way that it goes. And then you end up making the logical decisions. And so yeah, definitely follow your heart and have the
Yeah.
courage to step forwards even when you're afraid.
Amazing.
Love that.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Another, literally, I'm like, I just need to test and try this now. So I'll be doing that today, getting my pieces of paper.
amazing. Oh, thank you
you
so
so
much,
much.
Rachel. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, we'll stay connected and we'll share all of your details and we will speak to you very soon.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.